we experienced a week in our 30s when our kids were at camp. We stayed with our friends who were on staff at Nest Lake Bible Camp, and we worked all week. And on our drive home, we were talking and we said, well, in our retirement, maybe that's something that we can do, is to go to camps and just help them with projects that they just don't have time to get around to. So, and then now as seniors, as retired, we go to camps and we volunteer and we do mostly firewood, but anyway, that's what we do.
I grew up going to a camp in Manitoba for about 8 years, I think. In my 9th year, I ended up working there. In my 2nd year, me and the other girls in my cabin all gave our hearts to Jesus at the same time. And yeah, that's about I went to some other camps too, but that was the one I grew up going to.
Okay, I went twice, I think, for Edge Camp. It was really fun and really cold.
So I went out with some friends, and that's when I fell in love with camp. Really amazing experience. I think that would have been about grade 9 was the first time that I went out. And then after that, I was all in. And I went out the year after that, went out to kitchen help again. And then that was a really important experience happened. It was the first time I was introduced to Christian music. And my faith at that time wasn't super strong. Obviously didn't have a lot of influence at home, and obviously with the pressures of high school and stuff. But I actually rededicated my life down on the waterfront on that week of camp in grade 10.
Oh, in our retirement, we went across Canada, and probably our favorite memory is working at Blomington Bay Bible Camp in Nova Scotia. It's right across the highway from the Bay of Fundy, and we spent 2.5 weeks there just refurbishing a camp that had been closed for a long time.
So my most fun memory is playing a huge camp-wide game of capture the flag in a huge field. Like, the running involved was a lot. But my favorite memory is when I was in the junior unit. All the leaders were around the fire doing a bunch of funny things, and one guy put peanut butter and jelly in his armpits, and someone else took bread and cleaned it off and put it together and ate it, and everybody wanted to throw up, but it was so funny and disgusting. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay, my favorite camp memory. It might not sound like it should be my favorite, but it is. So I went to the canteen and I got a lot of candy and I ate it all in one night. And I threw up in the middle of the night. And I was trying to figure out who did it. And the only reason I knew it was me was because I was on the top bunk and there was puke coming down my pillow.
Okay. My favorite camp memory, when I was working as kitchen help, they used to have cabins down on the waterfront. And a couple of the other, I don't know if they were senior counselors or what, we were sleeping in our cabin and they sprayed, hairspray all over the windows. They lit the windows on fire and then yelled the place was on fire, and we all freaked out and ran out. So. Can we tell that story?
Well, that would have to go back to Lake of the Trees. They do all kinds of dress-up evenings, and they do Hawaiian night, and they do what's called Hawaiian haystacks. And if you've never had them, look the recipe up online because they are really excellent.
Pizza. I don't know what it is about camps, but camps make the best pizza. I don't know why.
My favorite camp meal, I really liked all the breakfasts.
Favorite camp meal usually is the cinnamon bun night. Although I'm gluten-free now, so I would probably just like to watch people eat it. But, the memory's still there. It's all good.
guess for us, going into camps and volunteering, just to see the needs that are there and the gifts that we've been given and how we can support the camp in those needs.
I think the biggest thing is God works in camps by just bringing kids from all kinds of backgrounds. And some kids are from Christian homes, some come from really rough backgrounds, some have never even heard the name Jesus before. And I think it's just a really powerful way of uniting kids from all kinds of backgrounds and just hearing the truth of Jesus and sometimes hearing the gospel for the first time.
Well, God definitely worked in camp in me because I got saved at camp and baptized at camp. So yeah, that was really awesome. And so camp definitely helped me with my spiritual journey. Well, I cried. It was really awesome. I knew I wanted to be saved because in chapel that night they gave a talk about it. And I started thinking about it and I was like, that's definitely something that I would like to do. So then I went and talked to Callie and she prayed with me and I got saved.
And I think the combined experience for kids to be able to hear the gospel and see people living it out makes a very special experience for people so they can understand and see what it's like. And they're loved on, right, by people there as well, which I think for a lot of kids, they don't get that. So I think that's what I've seen, how God's worked, obviously, because the gospel and people living out their faith together makes that experience for people. So that's why it's special. And it's, it's and obviously a beautiful place too, but I think the other parts are the big part for me, why God works there, so.
Probably service. Just serving the Lord, because we're not there working with the children. We're there to make the property look nice, to fix things that are broken, to all the behind the scene things that need to be done so that the kids can come to camp and have a safe and fun week.
I think because mainly summer camp, that 1 week per year was my main opportunity to hear truth and to hear the gospel. And I think the biggest spiritual lesson was how God desires us to be fed daily and weekly and throughout a whole year. And some kids just have camp. So I was thankful to eventually find a really great church, but God, the seeds that were planted at church, and just God really held on to me through camp for all those years. Yeah.
The biggest spiritual lesson I've learned at camp is probably to trust God, because He will give you different opportunities where He will work in you, like camp. That was a great opportunity where I was able to be saved and baptized. And camp was kind of the start of Him, working in me in major ways.
God's goodness, actually, because I think camp creates a unique opportunity where you can experience a lot of the good things that God has created and the special things about what it means to be a believer, and I guess because of the experience is so intense that you can kind of understand and see what God's given us in life that we can enjoy and love. And I think from my perspective, that's helped me also persevere, because I have some of my best times in my life have been at camp. And for example, probably this has taught me my biggest lesson about work is about, I guess, what's worth doing is that when I was a camp counselor, one of the years I was there, I had a cabin which had a kid who had he had some really special needs, and I'm not sure how it all worked out, but he ended up being in my cabin, and I ended up working really closely with him. And up to that point in my life, obviously I'd done a bit of work before, but I guess I the fulfillment that I got from that 1 week of camp and supporting and loving that person, and also being there present to share the gospel, made me understand, I guess, to a degree, how fulfilling God's work is. So I guess I've tied a whole bunch there together, but I mean, that's what's so good about it. It created that for me, so then it helped me, you know, with the other aspects of life which are less enjoyable or tough things in life, that there's also great things that God gives through that. So.